the season begins to draw to a close, we continue on Season 2 of the Last of Us Lite series here tonight at the Gateway Raceway. We're getting set to go racing here for 40 laps, and this is the race that's going to set us up towards our championship battle in 2 weeks at Kansas Speedway. Now, the number that all these drivers are going for is 35, and that 35 is the number of points you want to be out of the points lead, so that way next week at Kansas you mathematically still have a shot of winning the championship. Now, we have a field of 38, and of course the winner gets 5 extra bonus points. You also have the bonus point for leading the lap. You have a bonus point for leading the most laps. So technically you could be somewhere within the range of 40 points out and still be able to have a chance at the championship. But when you consider the fact that we have not a full field here, and you really have to take into consideration the fact that the drivers you're trying to run down could finish in the top 10 even if you win the race and still be ahead of you in the points, really you realistically got to look at about 35 points to have yourself still in the hunt for the championship. And we'll see what happens here tonight at this race at Gateway. This track could go one of two ways. It could be a track that's going to bring about a wreck fest. It could be a survival of the fittest, or we could also see this race turn into a fuel strategy race. We know for certain that these drivers can only make it at a maximum 38 laps, which makes them about 2 laps short of making it to the finish, and with the CTS physics, could be a lot sooner than that we could see them on pit road. So if we go into a long green flag run, this race could come down to pit strategy. On the pole position, M Canto coming off his best finish of the season, second place last week at Talladega Superspeedway. Alongside of him, T Fowlkes, both drivers looking for their first win of the season. Let's go down and get that command.
Drivers, start your engines!
So as the command is given, and the pace car will lead them around here for this pace lap, let's give you your top 10 the points coming this race, presented by Blame Shelley Insurance, which actually all 10 drivers are actually within 35 points of the points lead. So right now, they would be your contenders for the championship. At this point, we'll have to see if some other drivers will make their way in or fall out as this race progresses when we leave here. Griffin Lynn, the points leader, 5 points in hand over Shane Vincent, our winner from Salem. R Spurlytube, our Chicagoland winner, is third. He's 10 points out, and 11 points out is Simon Bloomfield, our winner from Springfield. He is fourth. Ben Crouch sits in fifth, Chris Maley in sixth, P Onjack seventh, Benjamin Breeg in eighth, ninth Michael Whitman, and Alex Lozano completes the top 10. We got a couple of drivers that could race their way into the top 10 and get themselves mathematically in the hunt for the championship in 2 weeks as well, including Ashlyn Boyd in 11th, Logan Cloud in 12th, Aiden Shepard 13th. A couple of long shot drivers would include Jonathan Wong, Marty Johnson, and Taylor Frey, but we'll see if they can do it. 40 laps here at Gateway. Green flags in the air. Let's roll. I'm also hoping, I've made a bit of an edit graphics-wise, and I'm hoping it'll help in terms of the frames, because I know that there's been a lot of lag issues in the past races that we've had here. It doesn't look like it's fixed it that much, but maybe a little bit better as M Canto gets away. Battle here for second. Philip Goldberg to the inside of T Fowlkes. You got the 43 right in the middle there of Alex Lozano, and then here comes Zach Rogers 3 wide. That turns into a battle for third as Goldberg's going to get the second position. Pace car in a very weird spot where he's parked, but okay. As looks like Lozano's going to take third place. T Fowlkes caught on that high side. Not a lot of grip there, especially on corner exit. Might be able to tuck into fourth place, and Zach Rogers wasn't quite able to get through that turn the way he needed to. And yep, Fowlkes will get into fourth, Rogers into fifth as Lozano now makes a move on Goldberg. He's going to go into the second position. Lozano winning the season opener at Daytona. Comes into this race 10th in the points, 35 points out, trying to become the second two-time winner this season. First one was, of course, Jeff Scott, who went to victory lane last week for the second time this season at Talladega. Mentioned a couple of drivers coming into this race that are also in the top 10. One of them, the 7 of P Onjack, who just moved into the top 5, bypassing Zach Rogers. Gained 4 spots in the standings last week at Dega, up to 7th in the standings, 23 points out. Trying to make a last-ditch effort here in the closing stages. And a couple of drivers that I mentioned that were kind of near the tail end of the points-wise of being in the hunt for the championship. Marty Johnson there in the 99, who comes into this race 15th in points. He's looking for a good run. There's Logan Cloud getting kicked up to the high line. He was last time by, scored in 8th, but Now he's in a battle for that position with Jake Smith. Cloud coming into this race in the 12th position in points, 40 points out of the points lead. And there is the points leader coming to this race, Griffin Lynn. Not seeing really any of the drivers that are battling him. Oh, trouble in the back! That was L Lagasee up into the wall there out of turn 4, and a couple of other drivers collected as well. First caution of the evening takes place on lap number 5. And Lozano was starting to close in on Michael Canto for the race lead, so Canto catches a little bit of a break there. I think the leaders had already crossed the start-finish line, so I think they're racing back to the yellow flag, and Lozano's going to try and take the lead. Contact between the top two. They hang on to it, but my goodness, what a battle coming to the caution flag, and Canto's going to hang on. Woo, that was fun to watch. Both cars were absolutely slideways off turn 4. Wow. Man, imagine if that had been the finish of the race, but Canto's going to hang on. And this is going to be big because I think this might be a caution at the certain point in time that it is that they could pit, come down pit road, get it full of fuel, and be good to go the rest of the way. We were thinking these drivers are going to have to rely on a green flag pit stop. Pit road's closed. Leaders haven't yet caught the pace car, so pits will probably be open next time. Well, pits are closed, but somebody just came down pit road. Looked like that was the 0 of Dylan Farrell. Looked like that was the gray roof of the 0 Chevrolet. Pits will probably be open this time, and I would be very surprised if we don't see everybody hit pit lane here. Because remember, they were about 2 laps short when they took the green flag. We've now completed 7 laps, so I think they could very easily make it the rest of the scheduled distance if they get their tanks completely full of Sunoco fuel. And there you see the left-hand turn down towards the apron of turn 3. Canto's coming in, and I believe the rest of the field is coming in as well. Let's see who else was involved in the wreck. Yeah, there's damage on the 0 of Dylan Farrell, who came down to close pit road. He was probably caught up in the wreck. Jonathan Wong back here. Looks like some front-end damage on the 18 of Ashlyn Boyd, who was trying to get himself into mathematical position to battle for the championship. R Spurlytube, third in the points, also back here. Don't know if he was involved or not. Here's last week's winner, Jeff Scott, in the 06. There's a couple of cars with some damage. That's Kenny Johnson, the 69, and just ahead of him, the car that I saw get out of shape in turn 4, the 57 of L Lagasee. So it looks like we had about 3, 4, maybe 5 drivers involved in this wreck, and Lagasee's out. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe just... Oh, a little contact up pit road there between Brandon Morris, Taylor Frey, and Riley Spurlytube. So pit road playing just as much of a factor here as the racetrack itself. And that's more damage for the 28. Kenny Johnson, the 69, you can see there. It looks like they're going to try and get that car repaired. There's another car right behind him that's having an extended stay on pit road, just now leaving. That's Colton Yo in the 98. And off pit road, it was Michael Canto winning the battle over Lozano, Philip Goldberg, P Onjack, and Marty Johnson. So the 52 will lead us back to green. Let's go back and see what brought out the caution for the first time here tonight at Gateway. Yeah, they were almost 4 wide going through turn 3 here. That's the 34 of Brandon Morris, who I think is going to try this 4-wide attempt with Kenny Johnson, Simon Bloomfield. I think the 69 and the 15 had already made contact. Bloomfield into the left rear quarter panel of Kenny Johnson. And at the same time, then he forces Brandon Morris down to L Lagasee. That sends him up the track. So Bloomfield got involved there with some pretty good, significant right side damage. Colton Yo back there in the 98 as well. And then you see Dylan Farrell back there. I think he got turned around off the nose of Josh Drake in the stack up. And that put him right up in front of, I believe that's the 18 of Ashlyn Boyd. There was also the 28 of Riley Spurlytube, and there was another car there too, and I couldn't tell who it was. It was another white Toyota that also might have gotten a piece of it, and I couldn't really from here tell who that driver was. Possibly might have been last week's winner, Jeff Scott, actually, now that I think of it. So that's what brought out the caution, a 4-wide attempt through turn 3. We're getting ready for a single file restart with about probably 25 laps to go. Well, more than 25 laps to go. It'll actually be 30 to go when they hit the line here. Michael Canto has led most of this race, which actually led all of this race so far. But he had a challenge we saw there from Alex Lozano coming to that caution. So we'll see now as everybody's come to pit road and should be good to go on fuel. If the 43's got anything to challenge the 52 here on this green flag run. And maybe we will get into a green flag run the rest of the way. You never know, though. I wasn't really expecting to see a caution the way they were racing before, but we did get one. As Marty Johnson's the first car to step out of line. That's a battle for fourth, so let's drop back to that. Gets to the inside of Peter Onjack. Marty Johnson's got a chance here with a good run, maybe a win to get himself up in the hunt for this championship at Kansas in 2 weeks. And a lot more on the line just than a championship as well, because whoever wins the championship here in this series, they will be making a Hershey's Cup Series debut in the final 3 races of the Hershey's Cup Series season at Texas, Rockingham, and the season finale at Homestead. As there's caution out again, second caution of the evening, and I'll look back and see what happened in just a moment. But just to finish my point, the announcement made at Tweenix Racing that the Last of Us Lite Series, the Last of Us Tweenix Racing, all with a promotion that the champion being determined the race weekend of Hershey's Cup Series Playoff Race 8 will actually pilot the number 98 Last of Us Chevrolet that Seth Cole is driving for the final 3 races of the Hershey's Cup Series season. So a big opportunity, not only a championship, but a Hershey's Cup Series ride for the final 3 races of the year for the eventual champion of the series. As the caution's out for the second time tonight, and it involves Riley Spurlytube for the second time. He had damage before. He got involved in the first caution. He's involved in this one, and the guy that was looking like one of the favorites to win this championship back in the first half of the season, things going south for him here. He came into this race 10 points out of the points lead, third in the standings, and his day may be over. Let's go and see what happened. This was on the restart. Colton Yohe gets a nice jump. He's going to try and go to the inside of Paul Jackson, who in turn is trying to go to the inside of, I think that might be Jeff Scott. And Colton Yohe is just going to drive it way down there on entry. He's going to get 2 tires in the grass. Down below that rumble strip, his car is going to slide up, and there's just no way he can hold on to it. Gets into the side of Kenny Johnson and right up in front of Riley Spurlytube. So Colton Yohe a little over anxious to try and pick up some positions there, and it's going to cost him as well as the 28, who had absolutely no time to check up. Colton Yohe came into this race 18th in the points, 61 points out of the points lead, was trying to, I guess, pick up spots to maybe get him positioned for a spot to battle for the championship, but I think mathematically it was basically impossible for him. But he was just looking for a good night after getting involved in a little bit of a stack up of that last yellow flag, and it cost him, and also is going to cost Riley Spurlytube possibly a chance of finishing this race. Green flag set to come back out in the air here with 25 laps to go. Michael Canto gets us back underway as out of the race, 4 cars in total. Believe one of them due to the last wreck, one of them due to a stack up on pit road after the first caution, and then 2 after the first caution. The first caution, oh, Shane Vincent in the wall back there. But the first caution taking out L Lagasee and Dylan Farrell, 37th and 38th is where they'll finish. Taylor Frey got involved in a wreck on pit road with Riley Spurlytube. He'll finish 36th, and Spurlytube just got involved. We saw there in that second caution, he's out in 35th. So this is going to put Spurlytube in a very interesting position heading into Kansas. And we also should mention as well, you see 34th place running is Simon Bloomfield, our winner from Springfield. He actually came to pit road under that last caution, so not a good night for the 15. So right now, Griffin Lynn, Shane Vincent, maybe they're going to have a little bit of a battle between themselves, because 3rd and 4th in points, they've encountered problems during the course of this race. As a matter of fact, Griffin Lynn is trying to work his way back up towards the front, faded back, getting caught up on the high side, now underneath Peter Onjack. That's a battle for 6th. Now looking to get into the top 5 as he's going to try and make a move on Philip Goldberg, as they are almost 4 wide. They were 3 wide there. That's Patrick Smith, Jake Smith, and Tristan Folks off of turn 4. Somehow they kept that together, and they almost thought about making it 4 wide with the 7 of Onjack. Sean Arndt there, and the 0-2 going to get into the mix as well. This is a battle just inside of the top 10. This is around 8th, 9th, 10th position. Tristan Fowlkes now going to make it 3 wide as Patrick Smith picked up a couple of positions. R Brommer back there in the 20, who had that runner-up finish at Springfield. In the wall goes Jake Smith, off the nose of P Onjack. Caution's out again, and they're piling in. Clark McKee's in it. Aiden Shepard, I'm pretty certain I saw the 55 of Chris Maley get a piece of it. I don't know if the leaders had crossed the line yet. Apparently not. The pace car is going to pick them up here out of turn 2. So we are under yellow. Jake Smith, who went around off the nose of P Onjack, hooked up into the wall. There's Clark McKee. There's Aiden Shepard, who came into this race in the 13th position in points, 46 points out. He had a shot of maybe getting mathematically in the hunt for the championship, and I'm pretty sure the 55 of Chris Maley got a piece. Oh, there were a couple of other drivers. Nicholas Wade in the 2, Tim Gary in the 3 have front-end damage, so they were involved. J Hallec was involved, our Charlotte winner, and there's the 55. Chris Maley, 6th in points, 21 points out. He was involved as well. He's on pit road. There's also rear-end damage on the back of Shane Vincent, 2nd in the points. Remember, we saw him get the wall off turn 2 on that last restart. I don't know if that's from that or if he got involved in that wreck maybe. Maybe got run into the back of in a stack-up trying to avoid the spinning number 54. But whatever the case, we got the caution out again. Lozano lost 2nd to Marty Johnson, who's now up to the runner-up spot. So Canto's got a new challenger when we go back green. We're at the halfway point. Let's take a look at what brought out caution number 3 here at Gateway. And a couple other cars were on pit road on this last caution, including Ashlyn Boyd and Josh Drake. So we'll see if they got involved in this wreck in some way, shape, or form. Here they are 3 wide. Going through turn 3, Fowlkes on the bottom, Jake Smith in the middle, P Onjack way up top. And just based on the way that it looks from the lines there in the turn, it looks like Onjack almost got up into the wall. He turned left to avoid hitting the wall, and Jake Smith was there. Hard hit for the 54 as he got hooked straight up into that wall. And then I think it's the 54 is going to be in everybody's way here, and everyone's going to try and slow up coming out of turn 4. Just not enough time. There's J Hallec. There's Chris Maley getting a big hit with the right front. Clark McKee nowhere to go. Shane Vincent. Oh, yeah, Vincent got run into the back of by Nicholas Wade, and then Wade got run into the back of by Tim Gary. There's Ashlyn Boyd getting involved. She got the left front into the back of Aiden Shepard. And Josh Drake, I think, may have made a little contact with the back of Tim Gary with the right front of his number 66. But there you see, that was a pretty heavy hit for the 55 of Chris Maley with the right front. So I don't know if he's still going to be in or not, but involved in that wreck were 2nd and 6th in the point standings coming into this race, as well as P Onjack. You can add him to that list as well, as he was 7th in points, and he got some pretty good damage there too, going up into the wall with Jake Smith. So we're starting to, it seems, weed them out, the drivers that are going to contend for the championship and the drivers that aren't, as Gateway is certainly playing a factor into our championship picture. 2 more drivers go into the garage area, finishing 33rd and 34th, Jake Smith and Nicholas Wade. So as we get ready to go back green, Michael Canto leads Marty Johnson. Alex Lozano there in 3rd. Logan Cloud trying to keep his championship hopes alive. He's in 4th. And 5th place right now is Philip Goldberg. Griffin Lynn having a solid outing in 6th. Zach Rogers 7th. Patrick Smith in 8th. Tristan Fowlkes 9th, and R Brommer completes the top 10 as the green flag comes back out. We're past the halfway point, 18 laps to go here at Gateway. Look at them back there making some moves, 3 wide. That's Tristan Fowlkes down on the bottom, right up in front of Benjamin Breeg. He's going to collect Ben Crouch, and we've got another big wreck, this time in turn 1. And Shane Vincent, I believe, is smoking. 2nd in the points. He got a piece of it. Breeg's on pit road. Breeg, who came into this race, 8th in points. Vincent, 2nd in points. Crouch, who came into this race, 5th in points. They're all involved in this one. Oh, we got another wreck on the front straightaway. That's Robert Henne. Zach Rogers. R Brommer, that looked like the 30 of Paul Jackson's involved. He just got run into by Clark McKee, who then just got hit by Ben Crouch. Jeff Scott, last week's winner, facing the wrong way, trying to get turned around. He finally does, but J Hallec wasn't really letting him get turned around. And all of a sudden, all heck's breaking loose here at Gateway. Jackson's got damage, Ashton Boyd, someone else is smoking up here. That's Simon Bloomfield, along with Michael Whitman. Bloomfield, who came into this race 4th in points, Whitman in 9th. And they're involved in something off turn 2. And the field continues to get smaller. Colton Yohe is in it. Probably be easier to document who wasn't in it. And everything right now is looking ever so rosy for the driver of the 41, Griffin Lynn, because all of his opponents coming into this race, they're falling like flies. Vincent, Spurlytube, Bloomfield, Crouch, Maley, Onjack, Breeg, and Whitman. 2nd through 9th, they've all been involved in something one way, shape, or form. And Griffin Lynn and A Lozano, I believe, are the only 2 drivers came into this race in the top 10 that haven't encountered some kind of problem here tonight at Gateway. We, I think, had 3 different wrecks right there in the span of 1 lap. We had an incident over in turn 2, we had an incident out of turn 4, and then we had another incident the following lap in turn 2, I think. Michael Canto's been ahead of all the mayhem, though. He's been in the safest spot on the track, it seems. He leads us under our 4th caution of the evening. Less than 15 laps to go. Well, we saw this before with Colton Yohe. Drivers just trying to drive it in deep into turn 1 to pick up spots, and this one wasn't even close. T Fowlkes was down below that rumble strip. You'd have to think he had already been told what happened to the 98, but really aggressive, and that's going to cost him. He loses so much momentum, there's just no reaction time for Benjamin Breeg, and he clips the 78 of Ben Crouch as well. Sean Arndt gets a piece of it as he's going to slide up and brush the wall. And then watch coming into view here, the 25 of Shane Vincent. Oh, he's going to hit Benjamin Breeg right there. Hard impact into the 5. And then there's Michael Whitman getting through, so he doesn't get involved in that wreck. But Shane Vincent's slow in front of everybody. There's Benjamin Breeg. Black smoke erupting from underneath the Lucas Oil Chevrolet, so that might take him out of the championship picture. Ben Crouch, who came in 5th in points with quite a bit of damage. And, of course, Shane Vincent, you got to assume, is out of this race. And then let's see what happens up here, because, I mean, how does this formulate? I think it starts up here with the 20 of Ryan Brommer and the 27 of Zach Rogers, I think. They were the ones that I saw around on the front stretch. Oh, wow, the 20 just runs really wide, way up high through turn 3. Zach Rogers going to get to his inside, and then Rogers all of a sudden seemed to get tight, and he ran up straight up the track. That car never turned. There's Robert Henne in the 9. He gets involved. Look at L Lyons there in the 63 on the top side waiting. There's where Paul Jackson gets involved in the 30. Oh, L Lyons did get a piece of that wreck. Jeff Scott trying to figure out where to go. He gets sideswiped by Michael Whitman. Whitman up into the wall. There's Simon Bloomfield. He gets into the 06. And then look at these guys. They're just not slowing down. That's Brandon Morris, the 34. J Hallec in the 8. Chris Maley, I think, came to a stop. He avoided. Ashlyn Boyd might have been able to get through with minimal damage. Look at the 69 of Kenny Johnson come flying in. He runs into the side of Clark McKee. Then here comes the 78 of Ben Crouch. He's going to run to the back of the 23 as well. And there you see the 06 facing the wrong way. He gets a little help turned back the wrong direction from Josh Drake. Brandon Morris not allowing him to get turned around as they're all waiting for the 06 to finally get straightened, and he finally does. And then, what happens up here out of turn 2? There's Michael Whitman. Whitman's blown up. Oh, I guess that these two had already gotten involved in that wreck further back there. Yeah, okay, so they had both actually hit, I think it was Jeff Scott, the back of Jeff Scott. Whitman there smoking, and Simon Bloomfield with a lot of damage. So that actually, there wasn't a wreck out of turn 2. These were just disabled machines that had been involved in the incident on the front straightaway. But my goodness. I knew Gateway was probably going to play a factor into the outcome of this championship for sure, but I didn't know it was going to play this much of a factor. 2nd through 9th in the points coming into this race have been involved in a wreck in some way, shape, or form, and we're going to have a lot of our championship contenders coming into this race possibly not be contenders for the championship when they leave this race here at Gateway. More drivers in the garage area as we will restart with 13 laps to go here at Gateway. Michael Canto over Marty Johnson, Logan Cloud, Griffin Lynn, and Philip Goldberg. Right now, Griffin Lynn putting a lot of pressure on everybody else because he's running well. And that's a lot of ground for drivers that are long shot drivers to have to make up, like Logan Cloud, like Alex Lozano, who also are running well. Out of the race, though, now include the cars of J Hallec, Simon Bloomfield, Kenny Johnson, Michael Whitman, Ben Crouch, Brandon Morris, Jeff Scott, our two-time winner this season. Shane Vincent's also out of the race. He'll finish 30th. Clark McKee, Benjamin Breeg out of the race, joining the other 6 drivers that have already retired. I mean, some of these names, R Spurlytube, Benjamin Breeg, Shane Vincent, Ben Crouch, Michael Whitman, Simon Bloomfield. We've been talking about them all season long as contenders for the championship, and now, who knows what's going to happen. And boy, Griffin Lynn, realizing the opportunity, he's already moved up to the 3rd position in that 41. I mean, I'm seeing some drivers that are at least surviving here tonight that might still have a shot at the championship in 2 weeks at Kansas, like Logan Cloud, like Alex Lozano, maybe Ashlyn Boyd, maybe Marty Johnson. But I'll tell you what, right now with running in 3rd place, he's not making it easy for him, is Griffin Lynn. Saw Landon Lyons get a piece of that last wreck as pace car is freaking out there. Lyons up in the 7th position behind Patrick Smith, and some of those survivors I was talking about. We'll look at Aiden Shepard now making a move on R Brommer, who went wide through that corner. But, I mean, some of those survivors back here. Chris Maley right now in 21st, trying to keep himself in touch with Griffin Lynn. Ashlyn Boyd in 22nd, and they are actually the last 2 cars running. With Griffin Lynn in 3rd, so it's like he's going to definitely open up the gap heading into Kansas. Now, right now, the highest running driver trying to chase him down in the point standings that is not out of the race would be Chris Maley, 6th in points, and he was 21 points coming into this race behind Griffin Lynn. With Lynn running in 3rd, and right now, Chris Maley in 21st, that's another 18 points that he's gaining, which means the gap would be about 39 points between Lynn and Maley heading into Kansas. So it's too early still to say that Griffin Lynn has the championship wrapped up, but he's definitely going to have not that much pressure in trying to win the championship at Kansas. Marty Johnson here would love to be able to get by Michael Canto and win this race. That'd be an extra 5 bonus points that he's trying to reel Griffin Lynn in with heading into the finale. But Griffin Lynn's right behind him, and oh, this could get very interesting as Johnson takes a look, had to check up. Griffin Lynn's going to get into the side of him, and now this turns into a battle for 2nd. Canto got really tight in the center of the corner. Johnson tried to get to the inside, had to lift. That's going to cost him 2nd place. Lynn's going to go to that position. And now Griffin Lynn, who this season is still looking for his 1st win as he comes in as the points leader. And I think then, if Griffin Lynn wins, I think we could then safely say he's already won this championship. Michael Canto was really low out of turn 4 there, trying to keep his car on the bottom. Might have gained him a little bit of time over the 41. Yeah, he gained 4/10 that last lap. Lynn trying to close the gap up, but not a whole lot of time. I don't think Griffin Lynn would be upset with a 2nd place, but I think what he really wants is to win, get that bonus point for leading a lap, get those 5 bonus points for winning, and basically make it impossible for anyone to take the championship from him in 2 weeks. Let's see if he gains any ground here. Ran about a half groove higher than Michael Canto out of 3 and 4. Canto hits the line. Lynn hits the line. It was 6/10 last time. This time, it's down to 4. With 6 laps to go. Marty Johnson still there in the conversation, though, as is Logan Cloud. Marty Johnson, a former winner in the Coors Light Truck Series under the name Marty Zakala. So he wants to get back to victory lane in an NNSCRA sanctioned event. Battle on for 5th here. Landon Lyons to the inside of Philip Goldberg, and he will complete the pass off turn 4. Ooh, almost a little contact there, though. Goldberg's going to battle back up high. Battle is on for 2nd. It was. Marty Johnson made a move to the inside, heading into turn 1 on Griffin Lynn. Not going to be able to complete the pass, though. That might lose the touch a little bit for these two with the 52 of Michael Canto. Canto, before last week's race at Talladega, his best finish was a 5th place run. and that was at Springfield. Then last week finished runner-up to Jeff Scott at Talladega. Whoa, Marty Johnson's all over the back bumper of that 41. The last thing that Griffin Lynn wants to do is wreck himself and finish outside of the top 5. Gotta wonder if that's on Marty Johnson's mind. If he can wreck the 41, make him lose some spots, Johnson could make up some ground, but I don't think that's how Marty Johnson races. Again, it's not just a race win on the line, it's a championship on the line in 2 weeks. And the field to compete against Griffin Lynn is looking awfully slim as Johnson tries to get to the inside of Griffin Lynn out of turn 4, can't make the move. Gap between the 52 and the 41 remains roughly 0.4 of a second. Hasn't really gained, hasn't really lost. That time, though, Griffin Lynn seemed a little bit better through turns 1 and 2. Canto trying to hang on for all he's worth. He was looking like one of the prime contenders to compete for the win back at Pocono, but ended up having to make an unscheduled pit stop. That cost him a chance at the win. See right there, he runs about a half groove lower out of turn 4 than Griffin Lynn does. I think that's where he's able to counter the good 1 and 2 that Griffin Lynn's able to have. That time about 5/100ths gained by Griffin Lynn, but still not quite within striking distance, and he only has 2 more laps to go. Plus, he's got Marty Johnson still on his back bumper, hounding him for second. Lozano was up there in the top 5. He's faded back to the 9th position now, so yet another competitor for Griffin Lynn that's kind of faded out of the picture. Griffin Lynn got really tight through the center of the corner, saw him have to burp the throttle. That had him check up, had Marty Johnson check up, and that might have just opened the gap Michael Canto needed to win as the white flag is displayed over the hood of the 52. Here comes Johnson to the inside for second. This will be the best battle on the final lap. Johnson's going to get alongside the 41, and Griffin Lynn's going to brush the wall off turn 2, so Johnson will take second. All going on behind the Ford Fusion, though, of Michael Canto, who's got about 4 car lengths in hand, back to the 99. Just got to be clean here through turns 3 and 4. A dominating performance here tonight for Michael Canto. Took the lead on the very first lap, never looked back, and he'll get his first win of the season here tonight at Gateway International. Johnson will finish in second, his best finish of the season, and third place Griffin Lynn. Did he just wrap up the championship? Is there anyone that's mathematically still going to have a shot at him heading into Kansas in 2 weeks? Or did Riley Spurlytube just put all his competitors out of range and maybe wrap up the championship as early as tonight? Gonna have to wait and see. Great run there for Canto. 1 position better than last week. Finished second at Dega. Gets that position he needed last week here tonight with the win at Gateway. We gave you the top 3. Logan Cloud, a great run for him in 4th. This could probably move him into the top 10 in the standings. I don't know, though, if he's going to be close enough to Griffin Lynn. He came into this race behind Griffin Lynn 40 points. Finishes 1 position behind him here tonight, so he'll be 41 points out. Boy, he's going to be a long shot. I don't know if he can get the, mathematically even have a shot at the championship, but we'll have to wait and see. L Lyons. We didn't really talk about him till the second half of this race. Made his way through the carnage. He'll finish with a top 5 of 5th. Patrick Smith, great run in 6th. Philip Goldberg. This was probably the most consistent we've seen him run all season. Stayed up in the top 10 all night long, avoided all the wrecks. Solid run of 7th. That was a great performance by the 22 team. Tristan Fowlkes brings it home in 8th after he had that mishap down in turn 1. Aiden Shepard's going to bring it home in 10th behind Alex Lozano in 9th. Now, Lozano came into this race 35 points behind Griffin Lynn, and he finishes 6 spots behind him, so he's also going to be 41 points back from Griffin Lynn heading into Kansas. So much like the whole Logan Cloud story, he's going to be really on that cusp of borderline, maybe mathematically eligible to try and win the championship. But I think right now, for both Logan Cloud and Alex Lozano, they're in the position where they need Griffin Lynn to finish dead last next week, and they have to win the race. That's almost what it's seeming like. Other drivers we didn't talk about with some solid runs in the top 15. Sean Art there in 11th. Robert Henne we saw get involved in the wreck on the front straightaway with Rogers and Brommer. He finished in 12th, though. Jonathan Wong brings it home 13th. good finish after the dismal runs he's had the last couple of weeks. Tim Gary, without a hood, still managed to finish in 14th, and Paul Jackson brings it home in 15th with Rogers, Brommer, Colton Yo, Josh Drake, and P Onjack completing your top 20. Onjack came into this race 23 points back from Griffin Lynn, and he's going to lose roughly 17 points. So he'll be about 39 points, 38, 39 points back. Boy, it's so many drivers just so far out of reach. Chris Maley, he's going to lose 18 spots to Griffin Lynn, and he came into this race 21 points back, so he's going to be about 39 points back. I think the closest a driver's going to be to him is about 38 points back heading into Kansas. And you look down here, some drivers that may have made an early exit from the championship battle. Simon Bloomfield, 24th. He came into this race 4th in the standings. You've got Michael Whitman. He came into this race 9th in standings. 26th is where he'll finish. Ben Crouch, he was 5th in the points. He finishes 27th. Jeff Scott, our two-time winner, 29th. Shane Vincent, 2nd in the points, was only 5 points back from the points lead. 31st is where he finishes. Benjamin Breeg, he was still in the championship picture. 32nd is where he finished. And he was 8th in the points coming into this race. And Riley Spurlytube was 3rd in the points, 10 points out of the points lead, and he finishes in the 35th position. So right now, it's looking like it's all Griffin Lynn with very little pressure heading into Kansas. He just got to basically, I guess, finish in the top 20, and he's going to win the championship. And, of course, also on the line, the opportunity to run the final 3 Hershey's Cup Series races this season as well in the number 98. So we'll have to see if Griffin Lynn's going to have any competitors or any competition of any sort at Kansas in 2 weeks. But right now, looking like he may have this championship very well wrapped up. But Michael Canto goes to victory lane tonight. Great win for him. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's race from Gateway. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, and become part of the crew today. We've shown you full and finished results. And these are your overall points heading into our finale in 2 weeks at Kansas with the championship on the line. Can Griffin Lynn win the championship, or can someone pull a last-minute miracle at the Kansas Speedway? We'll have to wait and see. We finish out this race weekend here with our second elimination race of the season for the Hershey's Cup Series drivers at the debuting track of Boston. Then next week's going to be a lot of fun, too, as we end up having just the trucks and the Hershey's Cup Series action. The truck's going to be road course racing at their endurance race of Le Mans, and then we've got road course racing at Lime Rock starting off round 3 for our Elite 8. So you're not going to want to miss the upcoming action in the few weeks on coming up here in the future. And then, of course, the following week, we determine the champion here for the Last Bus Light Series at Kansas. And we also go racing at Texas for Pizza Hut and Hershey's Cup Series action. But till then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching a production of NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best. Good night from Gateway.